I really like superhero teams composed of teenagers. I think they're great. You get to throw big, fun personalities together full of immaturity and angst and big, loud emotions that you just can't get away with when your characters are supposed to be adults. It also allows you to pretty much automatically explore themes of family, growth, and acceptance because you're dealing with kids trying to find their place in the world. And I think that the teenage super team is a big secret weapon that the MCU has yet to take advantage of. So that's what this video is about. How the MCU could integrate their flagship teen superhero team. Okay, their secondary flagship you know what I'm talking about, you read the title. This video is about the Young Avengers. Oh, and quick note, I'm assuming that this hypothetical Marvel movie is taking place, let's say, 5 or 6 years from now, and that the MCU has developed accordingly. The story. Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, is in trouble. She's been feeling more and more isolated after the events of Civil War, and after, everything that happens to her in Infinity War, she's pretty much emotionally and mentally devastated. She's split up with Vision, and her telepathic abilities are turning themselves inward, hitting her with imaginary scenario after imaginary scenario, some good, most bad. This mental strain is causing her power level to increase and spiral out of control at an exponential rate, which will be explained to us and to the Avengers by this guy if he's in the universe yet, and this guy if he's not. Okay, I know it's conjecture on my part that Wanda and Vision are estranged by this point, but we know both of them are going to come back to life eventually from the ashes, no pun intended, of Infinity War, and I mean the sheer trauma of having to murder Vision added to Wanda's worsening mental condition due to the previously mentioned factors, and that's enough to strain any relationship. Anyway, back to the story. Before the Avengers can figure out what to do about this problem, the situation is taken out of their hands by the Commission on Superhuman Activities, a new organization that rose up in the vacuum left behind by S.H.I.E.L.D. The CSA was only strengthened by the Sokovia Accords, as their mission statement is to contain, control, and, if necessary, terminate dangerous metahumans. They come to take Wanda, the Avengers' hands are tied by the Accords, and in a moment of intense panic and turmoil, Wanda releases an explosion of energy that alters reality and brings into being a teenager. More specifically, Billy Maximoff, aka Wiccan, an imaginary child of Wanda and Vision conjured into being out of Wanda's unstable mind. He's got crazy magical powers and, in this version, is basically a walking, talking, unstable isotope that presents an unquantifiable danger to the world. Adding another layer of difficulty to the situation, he remembers his entire imaginary upbringing with Wanda and Vision, an upbringing that never actually occurred. Yes, I know Wiccan has actual parents in the comics and stuff, but this kid's origin is cable levels of complicated, so for the purposes of this story, we're going to have to simplify. Cool? Cool. So now we have a scenario where this extremely disoriented teenager has to figure out what the hell is happening to him and make some new friends right quick because the CSA is coming to kill him and the Avengers are helping. Because remember, all the Avengers know is that Wiccan is a magic nuclear bomb that could detonate at any moment. They're not trying to kill him, but if they manage to contain him, the CSA will definitely pull that trigger. Now let's talk about the lineup. See, while Wiccan is the main character of this movie, much like how Iron Man is pretty much the main character of all of the Avengers movies, Iron Man is not the leader of the team, and neither is Wiccan. So who's our Captain America? Ms. Marvel, aka Kamala Khan. If this character doesn't exist in the MCU by yesterday, it is a huge missed opportunity. Kamala's inclusion would be the first time that a Muslim character has been a good guy in a superhero movie in ever, and not only is this great for a bunch of social reasons, it's also going to tap into a huge market that Hollywood doesn't seem to know or care exists. Hey, I wonder if there's any precedent for— oh, Jesus Christ! That's a lot of money. Speaking of untapped markets, the next hero on our lineup is also the first one that Wiccan meets, swinging around New York. The half-black, half-Latino Miles Morales, the new teen Spider-Man. This character exploded when he was first introduced in the comics and has become a welcome addition to the Marvel Universe for not only those previously mentioned underrepresented audiences, but also for people who like good characters and good stories with those good characters. What a good time. But Miles does come with a bit of a catch. He needs to have his own movie first. do the Miles Morales movie with Donald Glover as his uncle from Homecoming, have Tom Holland's Spider-Man show up and give the kid his blessing to operate concurrently with him as Spider-Man. This is how it works in the comics too. Relax, we're not killing Tom. Stop it. Anyway, after you do your Miles Morales movie, then you do Young Avengers, like immediately after, and he shows up both fully formed and as the main box office draw because he will be freaking huge. But Ms. Marvel's gonna be bigger, just trust me on this one. Next up on the lineup is Viv. Viv and her life as a teenage robot have a huge amount of potential. Setting aside the more tragic aspects of her history, this character could be a lot of fun on screen. Viv is Vision's daughter, as in he built her, and she's basically got a Mr. Spock thing going on, where she's on a constant quest to understand emotion, just as she's confused and freaked out by it. So she spends a lot of her time trying to emulate the actions of a teenage girl while still thinking and talking in dry computer speak. Like, imagine a scenario where Viv wants to go out late and Vision is scolding her, but they're both speaking like they're reciting the instruction manual for an Epson XP640 inkjet printer. If you can't make that scene work, then you're not even trying. Plus, her dynamic with Wiccan would be incredibly interesting. Wiccan is an imagined child of Wanda and Vision. Viv is the actual daughter of the real Vision. She has had, in Wiccan's eyes, the life that he was cheated out of. And in Viv's eyes, Wiccan got to experience, even if it was only imaginary, a childhood where Wanda and the Vision were happily married and provided a loving, stable home for him, instead of the colder, more frayed relationship the couple has now. Wiccan and Viv each want what the other has, and these desires reveal to us who they are as people, more than almost any other relationship really could. Almost. Teddy Altman, Hulkling. A shape-shifting, super-strong Skrull teenager, and he's also Wiccan's boyfriend. That's right, it's a gay relationship in a big summer blockbuster, which would not only be a first, I think, unless you're one of the people who won't shut up about these two. Hey, stop that right now, shut up! But it's also not the focus of the movie, which is uncommon as hell for cinema in general. Remember, this movie is about teenagers, the next generation, so we should be pushing boundaries whenever we can, getting as much diversity in here as possible, because remember, these movies matter especially to kids who could use these kinds of characters and dynamics on screen. Anyway, next on the roster, we've got a character we've already met in the MCU, Ant-Man's daughter Cassie Lang, aka Stature. By the time of this movie, the character will be the perfect age to start kicking butt with some Pym particles. That's a no-brainer. And last but not least, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. A badass hero who is important for two reasons, which are actually the same reason. One, she's the only member of this team with no superpowers, and two, she's a survivor of sexual assault. Every other character on this list has been gifted amazing abilities either by chance or on purpose. Most of them are legacy heroes being mentored by a pro, but not Kate. She would have to work 10 times harder than everybody else to make hero status if her only handicap was a lack of powers, but she also has to work through severe trauma at the very same time, and still she goes out there day in and day out and fights the very thing she should be more afraid of than anything in the world. She is a hero because she works that hard, and she can accurately shoot 5 arrows at once. 5 arrows at once? What? Oh, she's a cellist. She can play the cello. That's pretty cool. So that's our lineup, coming together to protect themselves and each other from the impossibly powerful forces of not only the adult world, but a government that specifically targets them for the crime of having been born different. I feel like that might connect with a few people. The obligatory Avengers versus Young Avengers fight that everybody in the Gram will go home talking about. Obviously, the Avengers are holding back, especially Vision, Spidey, and Ant-Man, who provide great comedic beats with their younger counterparts throughout, but the Young Avengers pull out all the stops and manage to impress the heroes and escape, which leads to them getting the blessing of the Avengers at the end of the movie, even though, as Hawkeye or Ms. Marvel will inform them, they would continue to operate with or without it. Also, don't focus excessively on Wanda. This is about Wiccan struggling to accept his mother's condition with the help of his new makeshift family, and upon reaching acceptance, managing to create a situation where Wanda will get the care she needs outside of the CSA's jurisdiction. Maybe at the Xavier Institute, huh? Maybe, how about that? Wouldn't that? Oh, and cast actual teenagers, please. You're batting 1,000 with Tom Holland. Just keep that train on the tracks. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. This is a weird new video format for me, but I thought it was a pretty fun experiment, so see you in the next one. Okay, 2 options. 1, a Terminator-style lightning flash in a back alley. Smoke clears, and Iron Lad steps out. Only do this if the Fantastic Four and Kang the Conqueror have already been introduced in the MCU. If not, then we enter a CSA Advanced Sciences lab, where a general, maybe General Ross if you want to turn him into a full-on villain again, inquires to a couple of scientists about how Project Rebirth is progressing. Cut to a weird, high-tech version of the super soldier's serum injection chamber from Captain America, with an unconscious African-American teenager inside. Elijah Bradley, who will soon become the Patriot, original leader of the comic book Young Avengers. Cut to black.